I am absolutely thrilled to present in this video one of the most exciting games I have seen recently. It features stunning sacrifices, beautiful attack and a very cool finish. You definitely don't want to miss this game. It was played on 17th of July in Biel, traditional annual event in Switzerland, taking place for the 57th time already. And white in this game is Rameshbabu Vaishali, very strong female player from India, only 23 years old, and also known as the older sister of superstar Pragnananda. She's playing with white against Alexander Donchenko, strong grandmaster from Germany, 26 years old, almost 150 points higher rated than Vaishali. But we will see what happens in this game. It's absolutely interesting game to see. Make sure to watch it from the beginning till the end. And in the meantime, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, or consider supporting the channel with a small PayPal donation. I really appreciate all your support, guys. Keep it going. And I will show you now what happened in this game. Vaishali opens with the move 1e4. And after that, Donchenko goes for his favorite opening, the Karo Kan. c6, d4, d5. And Vaishali is playing very ambitious chess. She plays what is considered to be nowadays the main continuation, e5, grabbing space in the center. Now the bishop comes out to f5. This is all pretty standard. And now pawn to c4. Maybe not the most common line, but trying to get rid of that annoying pawn on d5 and hoping to get the bishop into the game on the c4 square. Is usually doing pretty well. But black played here the move e6. This is the main continuation, trying to stay as solid as possible. Knight c3. And black develops here the knight to e7. It's one of the many available moves for black. But the main point is trying to get a grip on the d5 square. So if white is ever going to take, you can consider taking back with a knight. Now, interesting moment in the game. Once again, various options. Vaishali played here the move knight ge2. Now, this is actually not a strange move at all. It is often seen in these type of positions. Usually the knight is on its way to g3 to hit the bishop on f5. The main drawback is that black can now just capture the pawn on c4 and white is not able to take back with the bishop. Knight to g3 played, attacking the bishop. Of course, more importantly, white is about to take now on c4. So black played the principled move b5 and white is a pawn down. But it's a conscious pawn sacrifice. We know this pawn configuration from many openings. Think about 1d4, the Slav opening. You often see this structure. It is a useful pawn, but it also has some drawbacks. We will find out exactly what these drawbacks are. Bishop e2 is played. Just continue developing. Now, black drops back with the bishop to g6. Now, you could have thought here like maybe there are better ways of playing here for black, but it's very understandable to drop back with the bishop, preparing to move the knight to f5 or maybe even to d5. And then as black, you don't have to think of ideas for white to trade off the knight for the bishop. That's why bishop g6 is played, but it does give white time now to exert pressure on the queen side, challenging the pawn chain with a move a4 and well, also with the knight on c3. Black is not really able to defend the pawn one more time. If you would play a6, which was not played in the game, there's pawn takes b5, cb5, knight takes b5, and you can't really recapture on b5 as it hangs the rook on a8. So therefore, black has to come up with an alternative plan. Played here the move b4, attacking the knight on c3. The knight comes in to e4 with the intention of jumping to d6. That's something, of course, you cannot allow. Bishop takes e4 was played. Now the other knight comes in to e4, renewing the threat. And you understand that black needs to deal with that. But at the same time, also that pawn on c4 is no longer defended by the pawn on b5. The pawn is now on b4. So white will likely regain the pawn. Well, let's see. If you do play knight d5, as I said, there's bishop takes c4. Black played knight f5 instead. And the plan is to hit the pawn on d4. But white first defends it with the move bishop to e3. That is an excellent move. Defending, the pawn on d4. And well, anyway, the pawn on c4 is not really going to run away. Very likely at some point you can recapture with the bishop or even play rook c1, for instance. Black decided here to play this move, queen h4, hitting the knight on e4. And well, you gotta watch out. If you just move the knight away, there's even a second threat with the move knight takes e3. The queen is exploiting the fact that the pawn on f2 is pinned, so white is not allowed to recapture. So in fact, it's a double threat. Both the knight on e4 and the bishop on e3 are hanging. Knight g3 played, only move, but a good one, so that the knight is no longer hanging. And after knight takes e3, pawn takes e3 was played. So very interesting structure. Black is still a pawn up, but as I said, the pawn on c4 will be regained very soon. Black played the move bishop to e7. White castles kingside. Now you can see how beautiful this half open f-file is for the rook on f1. Knight d7 played. Black continues developing. And now it is bishop takes c4. Very interesting moment now in the game, as it is important to realize that the move knight takes e5, trying to take advantage of the pin along the fourth rank, you're not really going to win a pawn. White can play here the move rook to f4, attacking the queen. After the queen goes away, then it's time to take the knight on e5. So you're winning a piece in this case. So no knight takes e5, but what should black do instead? Well, if you, for instance, play knight b6, I think the bishop will come back to d3. And with ideas to put your knight on e4, rook f4, queen f3, rook a f1, white's pieces are very harmoniously placed, working very well together, and that will give white very good chances to build up an attack on the king side. Especially, we can expect black to castle very soon. In fact, instead of knight b6, castling king side was played here, and now you understand knight b6 is on the agenda, so white played the move a5. I think this is an excellent move to prevent the knight from getting to that b6 square. So the knight on d7 looks pretty bad. And second idea is that the queen may come to a4 to put some pressure against the pawn on c6, as well as the knight on d7. Black understands that there are potential problems. Played here the best move in the position, the move c5, the thematical Caro-Kann move in order to challenge the center. If black has all the time in the world, he would love to put rooks on the c and the d file, exerting pressure there. But this is the moment. I'm calling all your attention, guys. This is absolutely amazing, because now the move played in the game, I'm pretty sure I would not have found it. I think many of you would also not have even considered it. It's amazing. Vaishali is on fire, and she comes up with the best move in the position. Look at this. Rook takes f7. Amazing rook sacrifice, which looks like it's never going to work. I mean, white doesn't have enough pieces into the attack. But why is this move so strong? Well, of course, you got to take the rook either with the king or the rook. In the game, there followed a rook takes f7. But let's first have a look at this move. King takes f7. What is white's idea in that case? Then it's the amazing follow-up. Bishop takes e6. Second sacrifice in a row. Sacrificing the bishop with check. If you do take with the king, it is queen b3. And it's checkmate. The pawns are very important, taking away squares, as well as the knight on g3, covering the f5 square. If you do play c4, it's queen takes c4 with checkmate. You can't take the bishop in this case. If you would instead play king e8 to defend the knight on d7, then you follow up with queen a4. All of a sudden, you're attacking black from a different angle. It's very strong threat now with just checkmate on d7, capturing the knight. If you do play rook d8, defending that piece, there is bishop takes d7. You can't really recapture now with the rook because it runs into the move e6, setting up a pin against the rook on d7. This is just very, very, very bad for black. I mean, there are other ways of playing here after bishop takes e6, maybe king g6, but then at least you can just take the knight on d7, and look at this king, it just looks really bad. Having already a number of pawns for the exchange, white is in very good shape. So instead of taking with the king, there followed rook takes f7. But anyway, there is this move, bishop takes e6. That is a very, very nice move. As you're attacking the rook, you're also attacking the knight on d7. And one of the main points is that if you go for, let's say, knight f8, trying to clarify the situation, there is at least bishop takes f7. And if you do take back with the king, now the queen comes to f3 with check. And after that, the rook on a8 is hanging as well. So there's no way for black to consolidate the position with knight f8. Instead, they followed the move rook af8. And there are different possibilities. I don't think you should be interested in taking the knight. It's more important to keep this bishop on the board because you're paralyzing black's potential counterplay with the rooks. And what should white do? I mean, there are various options. You may even consider taking on f7 if you take with the rook. There's the move e6 and you're going to regain the invested piece. But the move played by Vaishali is queen a4. I think this is so difficult to see from afar because you have just sacrificed the rook and then you play this calm move, queen a4. But the point is you want to take the knight on d7 while maintaining the pin against the rook on f7. And this knight on d7 doesn't have any good squares to go to. If you go back, for instance, to b8, it's the only square where it doesn't drop material immediately, there will follow rook f1. And that's the main point. As you're about to take on f7, let's say you play a random move, you can simply take with the rook on f7. And now if the rook takes, the queen comes in to e8. And if you block with the bishop, it's queen takes f7, king h8, queen g8 with checkmate. Beautiful line. But you see, also thanks to that space advantage in the center, how quickly white's pieces are able to start attacking the black king. Let's have a look. After queen a4, there followed the move bishop g5. Black is trying to get some counterplay. Probably it's not really gonna help black at all because there is queen takes d7, just capturing the knight. Of course, rook takes queen is not possible because of the pin. Bishop takes e3 was black's idea with check. The king goes into the corner and now it is queen takes d4, offering the exchange of queens, and black would be relieved if pieces are coming off the board, especially the queens. But now another huge moment in this game as Vaishali, of course, wants to keep on playing for an attack but realizes that, okay, you don't really want to exchange queens, but not under every condition. There are circumstances that it's actually okay to exchange queens, and that is very nicely spotted by Vaishali. She goes for rook d1. Fantastic idea. Attacking the queen, and now if black, for instance, would take the pawn on e5, her idea is this cute mating idea. Queen takes rook, black is forced to take back, and it's rook d8 with checkmate. So here again, a pinned piece is not a good defender at all. Instead of queen takes e5, it really shows that you can barely move the queen. If queen goes somewhere, there is this threat of queen takes f7. So queens are coming off the board. But after rook takes d7, this pin on the rook on f7 is huge. Because if you move the king, then the rook will be taken. White is a piece up. If you move the rook from f8, you're also going to be a piece up. So these two rooks, they cannot move. Black played here the move c4. May look like a remarkable idea, but black is looking for counterplay. Because if we take it back, this move, what is white going to do? Well, very simple. White has the plan now to, for instance, play knight e4 and bring a knight to d6. Bring another attacker to hit the rook on f7. If the bishop guards the d6 square, then additionally also knight g5 could be an idea. But for now, the bishop on e3 covers that square. With the move c4, I think black is looking for counterplay with c3. But of course, white is going to take with the bishop on c4, taking away that potential threat. And well, of course, the bishop on e3 protects the pawn on e7. So white is not going to take it. But there followed this move, bishop to f4, hitting the pawn on e5. But look now at what happens here. If black gets the chance to take on e5, black is out of the woods. But e6 is a beautiful idea to hit this rook on f7. And note that this move has been made possible because you're temporarily giving up the pressure on the rook with the bishop. So there's no longer a pin, but the rook cannot come anywhere. It's all pretty well covered. Bishop on f4 is of course hindering, so there's no counterplay here at all. Rook takes, d7 was played, and now of course you're not going to take back because after king h8, this d-pawn is not dangerous at all. You can just block it with the rook and try to wrap it up very, very soon. But instead, now the last move of the game, it's e7, discovered check. And there's no convenient way to deal with this check. Because if you go king h8, you can just take the rook and it's checkmate. While in case of rook f7, it's time to promote the pawn in a different way with e8 queen. So e7, what a fantastic final position of this game. But I was very impressed with the way Vaishali played. Let me know, is this really the game of the year? Just a good game? I thought it was more than just a good game. Maybe not a game of the year, but definitely Vaishali must have feel very proud of this performance, crushing a very strong grandmaster in only 27 moves in such a way that is not something you do see every day. Well, let me know in the comments what you think. Hit the subscribe button and I would like to see you back on this channel. So stay tuned for more. Bye bye.